Welcome to Dog Talk. Today we're here with Pip Hudson and co-host Paul Darmody. Welcome both of you for jumping on. We're down at Port Fairy at the Commonwealth Championships, and we thought we'd have a sit down and chat with Pip while we can.
Oh, well, not a Tuesday night, so we're out of sequence, so we'll go with that and see how we go.
Well, Daniel's in New Zealand enjoying the high life, so we thought we better do one without him this time. And while we've got you in front of us, Pip, we thought we'd sit down and have a chat.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be here at Port Fairy, the Commonwealth Championship Dog Trials. It's a great venue. Most trialists would love to have their name on the Commonwealth Championship. I know Paul has, and Paul's got his name on the Commonwealth Championship twice. And I think I've only got mine on it once.
How many years have you been coming here for?
Since probably very close to the inception of the Commonwealth Championship that was run at Koroit for a number of years, and then moved to Port Fairy.
Yep.
So I've been coming here for a lot of years.
That's big commitment for you. Every year keep coming back?
1,200 k's from home to Port Fairy. But we were very fortunate because we were dog trialling, and my son, who's judging here today, was about 16, and he came down too, and we had a great time and met some wonderful people. And I think the most fascinating thing that we struck from coming out in the outback of New South Wales was that Bill Payton had the best Jersey cattle probably in the world, and he was exporting Jersey bulls to America. So we learned a lot from Bill on breeding dogs, because he enlightened us on to breed good cattle, and the same principles applied to working dogs.
Yeah. And what age did you start trialling then?
About 14 or 15, out in the outback of New South Wales, because my mother and father were trialists. My mother was the only female judge in Australia. It could have been the world.
Wow.
And she got, I think it's a OAM for contributors to the outback. And so that's how long I've been around dog trials.
So that's 4 generations of Hudsons then?
Definitely. Yeah, could be 5, but I can't find the written thing to prove it, because in Wilkenya I went there to find out, and somehow or other all that information was lost.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
You'd be only a couple of days over 21 yourself, wouldn't you be, Pip?
I'd like to think so, Paul. But I'm very fortunate, Paul, because I've met so many wonderful people, and to see the working dog in Australia, I'd like to see the working dog of Australia recognised as the Australian Border Collie, if you like. Not just the Border Collie, because the Australian Border Collie, I believe, is bred to be great working dogs.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Like we've come down a long way. We've used the genetics the same as the Kiwis used the genetics to breed their dogs, and we are Australian Border Collies. They are. We've perfected them to our to run in our climates and terrains and things like that. And I think they should be recognised as the Australian Border Collie for sure.
Yeah, Paul, I think so, and it's just wonderful to refer to the Australian Border Collie, or our collies, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yes, it's just been a wonderful experience right throughout the dog trying career, because we met so many people from the land, if you like, and see different ideas and different worm drenches, if you like, because we never drenched out in the western part of the back country.
So all the dogs that we've seen over the years, when you've trialled a long time and you've run a lot of dogs and stuff like that, how did the dogs change? You reckon the dogs have changed have the sheep changed to make the different dogs to work, or the sheep are still changed and we've bred dogs to work the different types of sheep that we are today? What's changed, the sheep or the dogs?
What a wonderful conversation to be having with you, Paul, because you've been around nearly as long as I've been around. And Paul, today, I don't like saying it if I'm on publishing or whatever, but we have no stock persons left today. In the years gone by, we rode horses and we worked dogs, and you had to be in the right place at the right time to work stock. With the advent of whatever, motorbikes and helicopters, if you like, and whatever, all working stock, it's a different world. I like to refer it as a computerised world. And you don't learn to work stock properly off a quad bike or out of a helicopter, I don't believe. They do use them in the north, I know, and successfully, but those pilots have the experience to be in the right place with the helicopter.
We've been around a little while, like you say. You're a lot older than me, though. That's a bit of a fib. But I was going to say to you, I when I first started dog trialling, and you did a lot of work forming the national body, the Australian Sheepdog Workers Association, and there were some great people in those days that dog trialled, and the Doug Connops who lived in Western Australia, and the boy Ron Seabrook out of Victoria, and Shirley Pye McMillan out of New South Wales, and the people out of Queensland as well. No one's jumping out of my name in those, but those Gordon Young and fellas like that. Like, we've seen a lot of great people come a long way in that in the part of dog trialling. You're saying now that we still have great people trialling, but we've lost the farmers who were the genuine people that were why trialling started, and we're lucky enough that we've seen now a lot of younger people out of different parts of life, people looking after dogs and breeding dogs out of the city and doing very well at trialling. Do you think the standards dropped, or has the standard changed, or what have we changed?
I think they've had in the past few years the experience to be helped to work stock from some of those trialers that are expertise in that field, and can help people that want to learn to work a dog and stock, if you like. There's a lot of people that go and try and help, but they can't transpire what they know like a good football coach to his team or whatever. And I often liken it to Mr. Bennett, the great football coach in rugby league. He can shift from one club to another, and he can pass off the information that the players can understand, and they win. And I think the people today have had access to these great persons who help and give them encouragement and assistance. And I can't name all those people because I could get into trouble. But in reference to the start of the ASDWA, Australian Sheepdog Workers Association, the main instigator of that was a bloke called Ted Gaby. And he knew a heck of a lot about working dogs. I know he had dined at Buckingham Palace. I know he lived in Tasmania. And I know he had access to some of the best dogs in the British Isles. And so Ted wanted to see, and he had the vision to see competitions between England, Ireland, Australia, whatever. That never quite eventuated, but with the help of Ron Seabrook, as Paul mentioned, and Nicky Webb, of which I was part of that. Not that I knew much in those days either, but I was New South Wales president. And most states were against forming an Australian body, but with careful discussions and what have you, eventually developed.
Yeah.
That's what's allowed our competition to be. You've built that with a test series between Australia and New Zealand. We can't compete in Europe because of the problem. We have had two people represent Australia at the World Champs overseas, and both of those people perform fairly well. But I think the cost of bringing those dogs home, most of the dogs I know, the last two dogs went over there, never came home. They were left over there, so the cost of bringing them home was too great to get them back through quarantine. So they stayed there. But our international competition between Australia and New Zealand is very good. Like it's strong. It's New Zealand are great triallers. We no matter what code of sport we play in whether it be, if you can represent your country in anything and have a green blazer on or a Kiwi, that's the ultimate of your sport.
And it's definitely the pinnacle of free sheep trialling here.
And we've been both lucky enough to be able to do that in different times. And Pip had been over years ago in a pairs thing and different things like that. But we built a course then that designed so that it was, for better words, it was half rugby union rules and half Aussie rules and rugby league rules. But it's made the competition even on both sides of the water, and it's been sought after. Kiwis have got a few up on us over a couple of times through a bit of bad luck on our own behalves, and not just sort of. We just haven't won quite the one we wanted to win as many as we should. But it's the only way to represent your country. Like I say, it's been an honour, and people like Pip with the Australian body was where that all formulated from originally. And a bloke by the name of Tony Shields and Hamish Richmond in New Zealand were the people that benefit from it. Well, started it in that country too, and put a lot of work into it. So, great way to represent your country. But I think all of those people that helped along the way, and that has been an asset to the people that today are getting the benefit of what people set up people like Pip had set up a long time ago.
Don't put yourself down though, Paul. You became ASDWA president, and Paul carried it right through. And at times under difficult situations, and I say difficult situations because in any association there's always dissension somewhere along the line, and to govern some of this new era, computerised era, you have to be pretty wise to deal with it. And he's always been a great thinker, and his mind has always been for Australian dog trialling, and so he carried on that theme, if you like, to benefit Australia from ultimately the great educators of dogs in New Zealand. Because of their terrain, they have to be, I think, much better educators of a dog than Australians.
Yeah.
But I liked, and I'm pretty sure, Laura, that our dogs are better.
And they are. Our dogs. They've got a lot of gear on their dogs, but I think our dogs are. I think our dogs are just as easy.
Can I ask why?
I wonder because their dogs are so robotic. They have to be able to run them at long distances. They want to be able to. You go to a Merrimah I went to a Merrimah to the Nationals over there to their titles, and the dog was an 870 metre cast from where you stood to the top of the to the top of the hill where the sheep were released. So that dog has to have gear on him all the way. They can, and so they're a bit robotic too. And we had a very good bloke by the name of Bernard Aarons who came over here, lived in Australia for a while, bred dog into his bloodlines out of New Zealand, and today I see him go back over there, and he always left something in his dog. Yeah. And that's why the blokes that leave the bit of dog in the dog are the people that still. The dog can still think quicker than you. If you're going to make him a robot, well, you're not going to get the prize. Yeah. And he's got to anticipate it before you. The trouble in all of our sport is that is it the dog or is it the human reading the sheep? I think there's heaps of different outcomes that you got to look at, and I think we do more yelling and bellowing at dogs and whistling when they should have been going and stopping them when they should have been starting them and things like that. I think we overread the sense sometimes if we just maybe not said anything, the dog might put them through and do it a bit quicker. But we all get a bit hot under the collar ourselves.
Oh, definitely. It's a point game at the end of the day.
That's right. So you're always
trying to keep them, not lose them.
And you learn and like you learn more from listening than you do
Yeah.
from talking. And people, the good, if you like, I was fortunate enough to come through an era with the Greg Princes and people like Pip and a lot of great dog trot, a lot of great stockmen really. That if you listened to John Perry, Laurie Slater, I remember Greg Prince saying if Laurie Slater ever learnt to break a dog in, no one had ever beat him. He was just he still is live today, but he's such a great stockman, and that's what he was. You get people like John Perry, who's another great stockman, but you had the Covers before that, and Doug Conniff would come over from the west and he'd have a truckload of 10 or 15 dogs, and they were all good dogs. So, but I wonder whether those dogs would still work the sheep today. I think that our sheep works. The sheep have changed. We've changed the sheep to work for our dogs a bit differently, I think. So there's been lots of different things, ins and outs that keep it interesting all the way along. Wherever you go, you're going to get different stock. If you got 3 sheep, a man and a dog, the disasters are endless.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And Paul mentioned those great handlers, if you like. We might think about it in the terms that I know John Perry managed a place, but I know Greg had no other form of income, and so he devoted his life to working dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And he was born with a ball in his hand for sport, and he was very, very good at anything he took on. He was exceptional. And so to work dogs, he was actually brilliant. I felt for him because I felt that he didn't have Bennett's ability to transpire what he knew for the normal bloke. And he tried desperately, but it never happened. But he was brilliant. And I had a lot to do with Jeff Jolly, the great handler that I first saw a dog taught to run backwards off stock. And I had a lot to do with Jeff Jolly, and he said to me after he taught me so much, after being with dog people all my life, not to tell anybody about what he taught me. And he passed away, Jeff. And because I was good friends, in fact I was his best man at his wedding, I told Greg exactly what Jeff Rapoli had taught me. You didn't have to tell Greg twice or anything. And so he was very good, exceptional. But there's a bloke going around today, and his name's Mick. I'm not going to say much more, his surname. But after having worked against all the big greats, Jeff Jolly, Don Smith from Queensland, Bill Marshall from Victoria, the list goes on and on. Curly O came from Victoria, Greg Prince, if you like. This fella, Mick, is the best I've ever seen working a sheepdog. And it's a God-given gift.
Is it not just genetics?
Well, I wouldn't. He might say no, but he is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, his results speak for themselves, don't they?
Well, they do, and as Paul said, he's got that great knack of leaving all the initiative and the thought
In the dog.
in the dog.
Yeah.
And when he says move left to right, they move with happiness. It's just out of this world. And I've watched and watched and watched, and he says to me at times, that bloke, that Mick, he says to me, hey, you're doing it wrong. You should do this or you should do that.
And do you listen?
Beg your pardon?
Do you listen?
It's like learning a computer. I don't think I can keep up.
But that's right, and I think you got to like your dogs. If your dogs work the way you want to do them, and I know Greg Simpson said to me one day, he said, mate, if you don't like it, find someone you don't like and give them away. He's given them to them. He said, you'll never like it. If you don't pick a pup and you don't like it, you'll never like it.
Yeah.
So Mick, he's a bit the same. His dogs like him, and okay, they're all trained to perfection and all that. But if you don't train a little kid not to run out in the street, he gets run over by a car.
Yeah.
So you're not. It's not through force. It's not through anything other than just good manners, good structure in what you do, and how you transfer that into your dog,
Yeah.
because they are your best mates.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't matter if I never won a dog trot. I find my dogs, the greatest satisfaction in me is that I employ about 10 people.
Yeah.
They annoy the crap out of you. So to go home and have a beer after work and let
Yeah.
10 dogs out and go for a drive down the dam and watch them all have a swim is a relaxation to me.
Yeah.
Okay, you might fluke a dog trial here and there, but that suits me fine. You're not in it. Like, people aren't sitting here because they know they're going to win this trial. There's only one winner of this trial, and there's 200 dogs running around trying to have a crack at it. So one day you were like trying to win the Powerball the other night for
Yes.
100 million. We didn't win.
No.
So
No.
it's
At least
not,
your chances of winning a dog trial are a bit higher than the Powerball.
I don't know. There's too many good blokes flocking around this sport still. Like, a lot of people put a lot of effort into their dogs today, but they all enjoy their dogs, and that's the
biggest
relaxation
part of
of it.
it. Yeah.
It is, I know you've only got Kelpies, but that's sad. One day you'll swap over to a border collie, and
I'm
you'll
just
be
waiting,
happy.
just waiting
I
for
was
the
asked
right
on
one.
Australian Stories by Philip Williams. What happens to your dogs when they get old and what have you? I said if they're ill or whatever, and you've had to put them down, you cry as well as it's one of your family.
Yeah.
And and I was asked recently about a pretty fair dog I own who's still alive. And I've been asked by some people, what do you do? I said, whilst ever he can smile and whatever he's looking at me, he can travel in the back of the ute
Yeah.
and he can live till he can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because that dog owes me so much, it's not what dog trialling owes me, it's what I owe dog trialling. I've dealt with presidents and premiers, the Governor General, the Premier's wife of Western Australia and the so forth, and spoke to them all. And in Perth, because Babe was just made, the film, the TV company asked me would I work pigs.
With your dogs.
Just pigs.
Yeah.
With sheep with pigs.
Yeah.
So I tried to get out of it. And I said, oh no, you wouldn't be able to do that here. Next day they came back and they said, we've got the pigs. And the show committee, this is Perth Royal Show, has said, yeah, go ahead. And believe me, I got a shock. I got them going in 15 minutes. And I worked sheep with those two pigs. And you come out and tried to bunny them, and straight up and shifted them.
Yeah, wow.
And it's all on TV.
Yeah.
And so that's probably one of the greatest achievements I've ever had, to work sheep with pigs. And Paul mentioned happening to represent Australia in New Zealand with two dogs working together.
Mm-hmm.
I was given 3 weeks and I was very fortunate because you had to work 2 dogs on 6 sheep and you had to cast them about 300 yards and they had to stay on the same side all the way through the trial. Stay on their same side, not to work the other side. And you were in the driving position. They had to still stay. And then when you got the 2 obstacles done, you had to split the 6 into 2 lots of 3 in a 20-foot diameter circle. 1 dog allowed in the circle, 1 dog has to stop outside. And when you split them, the other dog's allowed to come in and take them over there, those 3, and you take these 3 over to the pen and put them in, and you've got to stop at the gate. And then the other pen, other dog's got the other 3 sheep over there somewhere on the road. You leave that dog there and you come over here and you pen them with the second dog. And that's on 60 minutes.
Wow. We'll have to.
And I
dig that
won the
one up.
section against.
It's a good. I've seen the one with. I haven't seen Pip's, but I've seen Toby Lindsay do it over there.
Yeah.
I
with
had
2
to
dogs.
help Toby Lindsay to try and do it. They altered the course for him
Yeah.
in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Not the same as what I did because it was harder.
But it is tough, and
Yeah.
and I think a bit of that trialling originally came out of the UK where they do a lot of that shedding and stuff like that, and that, but not something we do here, but we still do. I've seen dog here that was good enough to know where a fly-blown sheep was. Walk
Yeah.
through a mob, and that dog
Yeah.
would,
Get him
you
out.
know, what sheep he
Yeah.
had to get out. People would tell you that wouldn't happen, but I've witnessed
Yeah,
that.
I've-
and
yeah.
seen that happen.
Yeah, I've seen that
and
happen. Yeah.
I tell you, they make life a lot easier. You got a
Yeah.
dog that can catch a fly-blown sheep when
Yeah.
you're as quick as Pip and I am, mate, over 100 metres. So yeah, but like I say, it's all back to where it is today. We've lost a lot of our senior gentlemen in the sport, but the history still stays with us. What they set up years ago. We have all different. Each state has its own trialling course, and that's great. It's like if you want to race a horse in Melbourne, he's got to go anti-clockwise. You race him in New South, he's got to go clockwise.
Yeah.
So no one complains about the courses. They set them up. They're a bit shorter timber in South Australia. They're a bit narrow, but big sheep and narrow go. They didn't put a lot of timber into their obstacles, but that's just part of life. But yeah, to be able to still come out and watch the different people coming through the whole sport and the efforts that other people are putting into their dogs, and it's because they like their dogs and they've trained them, and a lot of people are learning off the good people. But sadly, where the catching pen's filled up with a lot of very good knowledge.
That was going to be my next question for you both. Was obviously over the years you've seen a lot of people come and go through trialling. How do we keep the sport growing? It is.
I don't think I've ever seen so many younger persons going around trying to learn to work sheepdog trialling than I've seen in the last 12 months.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen such an influx. I was told somewhere recently that there was 50 younger persons in the encouraged trial. Now, I'm not quite sure where that was or who told me in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
50. And they said, oh, gee, it's a bit of a worry because we're going to get 50 new people on the ground. Where are we going to get the sheep to run them all?
Yeah.
So there's a great influx. We've just came through Dunes Marsh, Cressy. We're now at the Commonwealth, and I think there was something like 40-odd dogs in the farmers' trial here at the Commonwealth Championship.
20, I think.
20?
Yeah, I think it was about 20.
Yeah, a bit more maybe, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, and they're the people that we've got to look after.
Definitely.
We've got to care for them. We've got to keep them on the track at all costs because there's a lot of brains in those people. And there's one chap here from Queensland. Now, I think he's the boss of the health for Western Queensland.
Yes.
What value is he for dog trialling
Yeah.
to use his ability with the computer?
And look what he's already done online with the Queensland Register.
Yeah.
Like, we can now get on and actually look at, let's say we go and we want to see what Digger's part, like all his progeny. We can click on Digger and look at all the litters that he's had, and same with the bitch line and everything like that too, which
It's phenomenal.
it's unreal. Like, I just think it's awesome, and it'd be great to see all that come together with all the different states' registers, that we could have it in one pool on the Australian board, like on the Australian website or something.
That's great. But how do we get the knowledge of Pip Hudson and the John Perrys and the people that are? We've still got them on the ground. We need to source into those people too. Somewhere along the line, we need to have some seminars where you can listen to people like John Perry talk. Those people have a wealth of knowledge. Laurie just to the stage he's not. There'll be people in Queensland that are good trialers.
We need to get their knowledge and save it before. Well, that's where Dog Talk originated. Was that idea of getting people together, having a sit down like we are with you now, Pip, and getting your knowledge and the old stories of how things were started and why they were started to store that, because
it's so important.
It is. It's the history of our sport at the end of the day.
It is.
Especially like you've been in it since, what did you say, you were 14 or something? Yeah. Like, there's many of years of knowledge that it'd be a shame to lose it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been passed on to the fourth generation probably, so a lot of it won't be lost.
No,
but... that source, but you are correct, and what both you and Paul have said is just wonderful, because you realise to keep dog trialling going, we need all these concepts
definitely
put together. And I've been talking to Paul and one other chap here today on some ways that I think we can still yet improve, but dog trialers being a bit dogmatic has a bit of trouble to get through to them. Whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. but I have some ideas to try and help, and I've talked to Paul about it, and we might get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope we do.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, we might need you, Laura, to put it down on paper for us. What we can
Younger generation got to step up. You can't expect old people to do it all.
Definitely. No, and I think there's a lot of the young people that are wanting to step up, but, sometimes it's where do you start to step up?
But I think you're like in what you do with Dog Talk. I think that's great, and I think there's a wealth of knowledge there that you haven't tapped into.
Oh,
yet.
definitely.
You need to get to those old people before.
Why do you think I'm here?
Well, that's right. Yeah. But I think there's more than us two too. And I think there are people there that you if you went to John Perry and asked him something, he would tell you what you needed to know. There's a wealth of knowledge there that if we don't get it, we'll never get it. We'll lose it, And that they are good stock. When you learn more by listening than you do by talking, and those fellas are the people that we really need. We've lost the Ross Dodgers. We've lost those people that have gone before us, and but we need not to. A lot of that Ross Dodge is in Barry Payton and young Ross's son and Jimmy and that, who are still. Jimmy's a great dog competitor, but very shy gentleman that doesn't give out a lot of knowledge because he's just a shy bloke. But they're good blokes. They know a lot, and they're genuine dog trialers. And
definitely.
So many of these people would learn so much. You look at Mick, you look at Billy Davison in the north of the state. Good dog trainers trained by good people. And they're the ones that are going to help the next people get through, and we need to support them and help all these people. There's 100, like you said, 40 people worked here, 60 or 70 new ones in Queensland, same in New South. You need to help these people, otherwise you'll wreck dogs and you'll wreck people by not trying to educate those people now and help them out. What do you think?
I think that's right, Paul. I think it's very important because we still want to keep working dogs till we go through the netting. And that's a terminology. Kick the till. But we've got to do and support them in each and every way we can. And fortunately, New South Wales has certainly got rules and regulations to follow to help those younger people and keep them on the ground at all costs. And Paul's judged them, and that Mick is judging here, he's judged them, and they help them as they're going around. Other people would say, oh, why would you help them? Why would you help them? But those people haven't got the mindset to help those people and keep the... I'm just a bit chagrined to say how I feel. I'm led to believe that it's not considered a sport for funding. And I don't know how right or wrong that is.
I'm not sure.
I never ever considered it a sport. It was part of my life.
Yeah.
And all prize winnings went in. And so I was very fortunate. And I think from what I can see from the outside looking in, there's new football fields going up, there's new tennis courts, there's swimming pools, there's gym centres and all that. The great author, C.E.W. wrote the book On the Bull Track. And he wrote that if it wasn't for the Australian sheepdog, there would be no wool industry. And so from that, one would glean that, yes, they've paid a very big part, the working sheepdog in Australia, for the wool industry. And Australia rode on the sheep's back for a number of years.
Yeah.
So I believe the costs are so exorbitant now to take a dog to New Zealand as a working dog for a test team is just too dear. And I honestly believe that government or air companies or somebody would only be too pleased to assist in getting those dogs over to New Zealand, or hopefully down the track in a few years bringing the British Isles out here to Australia for a competition. And I do know of a young chap that's just been over to the British Isles. He worked in the Supreme at Strathalbyn.
He did, yeah.
Adam.
Adam James.
And he took his dog over and he brought him back.
He did, yeah. And I believe he competed him over there too.
He did.
He did,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And so he knows.
Yeah.
And we've got to use the Adams.
Yes.
And you've got Gary White from Ningen, who also has been overseas, does a lot of training overseas.
Yeah.
So there's still good genetics there. Gary White come from his father's still alive today, but a great and great dog trials
definitely.
and great supporters of what we're all about. But it's it's an excuse to get out of work and go to a dog trial, and the rest is history. Really, you've just got to. We need to keep growing it and let everyone else enjoy it. That's the secret.
Yeah.
Like, you got to bring the sheep to town and let people see what
definitely.
you're doing.
Well, look at here, the amount of spectators you get.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Well, you go to the National in Canberra in a few months' time, and the people that turn up there just to watch the dog.
I think over 1,000 a day, isn't it?
That's right. And once upon a time, people had a lap dog in Sydney, and now they're running around Hyde Park, and they've got a border collie or something running along beside them. People have used them for other things in agility. They've used them for keeping themselves fit and all that sort of stuff. So it's all part of life, and I think mentally, I think we have a lot of problems in people with depression and things like that, and I think dogs are are a way out of that. I think they're a major part of helping Australians get through the tough times too, you know.
Yeah.
What is it about dog trialling that keeps you in it for all these years?
The mates,
People.
the friends,
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah,
The good people.
yeah,
And I had a big breakdown coming down Victoria a couple of years ago. Not from accident, everything blew up in the car. And I said to my wife, this is it, I'm finished dog trialing. And she said, what are you going to do then? I said, I'm going to play music.
yep,
Can I play music?
yep.
She said, that won't keep you fit. I think you should keep working dogs.
She's sick
Oh,
and
I
tired
got
of listening to play music. That's all that was
Yeah, I
about.
reckon.
We've all heard
And
that.
she can be sitting away having a cup of tea while you're working a dog, but music, she's still listening to it.
Yeah, and so are we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps you going.
Yeah.
And I pulled up at Dean's Marsh, and I got out of the car, and I saw this one and that one, and so I said, I said to the wife, now I know what I'm doing. You see these wonderful people.
Yeah.
They are wonderful people. Whatever walk of life they come from. Because everyone goes out there to win. And there's only one winner, as Paul said.
And we're still
But
all
they
friends
still
afterwards.
turn up. And you see them
Yeah.
tell the yarn too. Whether it's live or not, doesn't matter.
Plenty of yarns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can't tell lies.
No.
But there's been a lot of lies told after a lot of night dog trials. But you listen, like I said before, you learn from sitting and listening to people and the stories and the how to work dogs. And sadly, a lot of these people won't see those good dog trialers that were genuine farmers who were and the dogs have changed over the years too. The sheep have changed. I think the dogs were tougher in those days. Today the dogs have had to lighten off their strength to because the sheep people taught the sheep to chase them in motorbikes and all that sort of stuff. So the dogs have got a bit more pressure off them, and I think you still see that in yardies too. The Kelby blokes had jumped down my throat, but once upon a time the dogs were barking and backing all day. Now they're sneaking and doing they're only a border collie with a different coat on them.
I'll hold you to that one.
but yeah, my brother won't like that comment. But it has changed. You can't be bashing sheep around yards today. You don't do it on home. You're mainly looking after our stock.
Definitely that, and the general public around too. Like we've all got to be careful of how your dog treats the sheep and
Well,
and how we treat our dogs. Like
Well, I live on the edge of a town of Bungendore, and I've had town dogs get into my sheep and kill 40 or 50 dogs. There's nothing more worse in your life than going around putting sheep down and things like that. And that is such a tough thing to do.
It would be.
They're our livelihood. They're what we make our living out of. So we certainly want to look after the stock that we are and how it works.
So, a little bit, Pip, like how do you go about picking a dog that stays in your team? You've had a lot over the years, but how do you pick the good ones that stay in the team?
As a pup.
Or as a going dog,
Yes,
even.
yeah.
You know, that 12-month-old. Yep.
Temperament.
Yep.
Then the love follows.
Yeah.
Without the proper temperament, the love's not there.
Yep.
And if there is a disagreement on temperament between one to the other, it's doing the dog a favour and yourself a favour to let someone else work them on the place or whatever, where they'll do a great job. And they'll bond with that person anyway, and that person will have a good home, the dog, which you're very mindful of. But temperament is so important.
Yeah. So that's probably the one trait that if they didn't have, you'd move them on.
I would move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And with love, I suppose, to someone that you know will look after them and treat them in the right manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proper veterinary care, proper feeding, and you'd educate that person, or you wouldn't pass them on to someone who you didn't think had those capabilities.
Yeah.
To be in fairness to the animal.
A lot of dogs that are a bit too strong in this game that you put back into farms. And
Yeah.
rehouse my dogs and even the blokes that were dog trials live on big farms, and they put those dogs to work, and there's so much work.
Someone that's more suited to
A
that.
lot of feedlot work on sheep today. A lot more stock in capacities of more confined capacities, and need those sort of dogs to work them, and that's where you find a home for them. And the ones that get old, there's a lot of older people today looking for something to sit there and talk to over night time, and put those dogs into that environment. So that you never hear of anyone in any of our sports in dog trials and yardies, kelpies, or whatever. We all look after them dogs. Those dogs always find a nice place to go to and all that, you know.
Yeah. If you can find the off button.
It's very important.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
No, you're right. So, but anyway, that's what I feel, that you just got to be a bit kind to your dogs, look after what you like, to temperament your dogs, they're your mates, and
to generalise, those people that you pass dogs on to, they've always been up 5 or 6 or 7 years, and so you wouldn't have another one, would you? Because they appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's just carried on to them.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it's sort of thank you for sitting down with us, Pip, and
Thank you very much.
having a chat, and
Great to chat with Paul here too.
definitely, I appreciate you jumping on board, because there's a lot of information there about Pip that I don't know the names of. I'm very new to it all, that I don't know the names of the fellas that helped him get it all started and all the rest.
I think there's a history there that we could
Yeah.
do it again, you know.
Oh,
in the
definitely.
fact that there's some great people there that come across from the Nullarbor heaps of times. There's people there that have a history that did a lot towards breeding up dogs in the country, and further we go, we get people like you to get out of that Kelpie game and back into the border collies and into the real life.
No, I've got a soft spot for my Kelpies, you know that.
Yeah, wait to yourself.
Stay with them if you love them.
Oh, I think a mixed team would be nice. Just got to find the right ones yet. Still, new to it all.
Like I said, find someone you don't like, give those Kelpies away and get border
I like
collies.
everyone, you know that.
You're doing well with them, Laura.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, so
And the temperament.
that temperament. Yeah.
And I think your show at Dog Talk's good for the people in the dog trial world. They enjoy what you and put together, and I think that's the way you needs to continue on. I think it helps people to look around it a bit and all learn off everyone else.
Yeah. Well, thank you to you both.
No worries.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Laura.
it.
All the best.